So when you log into AdvancePro over here, this is something that you guys may be able to use in the warehouse and the store, however you're fulfilling your orders. But anything that's coming inbound, anything that's going outbound to any of the retailers, what you have in the warehouse, your sales, your settings, these are all things at the access of your fingertips. So of these categories here, at this point, who is handling what from these which I just mentioned?
Who's handling them as far as?
Who'd be bringing stuff inbound, who's handling the outbound, who's handling everything in the warehouse, the sales. I'm going to toggle between the front end and then the back end as well.
Well, you'd pretty much have three people handling everything. If you're talking about receiving, if you're talking about receiving goods on the back end into QuickBooks, for example, then that would be me. Most of the sort of bookkeeping stuff I take care of.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay, so let's start with that. Let's say, for example, you have something coming in inbound and you don't have a chance to be at your computer, but you want to obviously verify that it's been received. So under inbound over here, you can see everything that's going to come in today, as well as what's to receive and completed orders. So when I go to receive, I have over here on my screen everything that's coming in. So for example, I'm just going to look at some products that I have over here, and I'm just scrolling down the screen. Let's see, because I have some partially received, I have some full received, so I want to pick something that's pretty easy. All right, let's go to this one. Oh, someone else is using the order. Always fun. Let's try this one. So of these items over here, once you're able to click on them, you can bring them in by picking location. And then this one's making me complete serial numbers and lot numbers and quantity, so we can turn that off unless you are using it. But essentially what happens is that you'll be able to bring in the quantity once you have the amount in there, and then you can, do you guys use picking locations at all?
no.
Okay, so don't worry about that. We can turn it off. So what's going to happen is you'll just put the quantity of 3, and then once you complete it, you'll be able to bring that in. So it's the exact same process for all 3 of these over here. You're going to bring in the 3 units, the 2 units, the 1 unit. It'll say the number's been fulfilled. And then once you go over, you'll have a completed order. And in this completed order, you'll have line item fields from the orders that you just processed. And it'll give you an example. 300 units of 300 units have been received. So this PO 100,
Sure.
you can verify that all of those items are in stock.
Okay.
Let's go back to the screen. For outbound, it's the exact same process. You see what has to be picked, packed, and shipped. So this is obviously indicating that I have to pick it. And then you'd go ahead, click on it, lot and serial required. So that's pretty much the exact same process where you put the lot and serial in, you'd pick it, and then it would send to pack. You have your pack stage over here. At this point, each individual quantity is going to be indicated as to what's in the box. So you can verify that what's going out is what's been picked, pack it up. Now shipping happens in the back end, so whoever's going to be doing picking and packing mobile, they'll be able to obviously do steps 1 to 2, and then the third part's going to be in the back end, whoever's going to be handling it.
Okay.
Pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Now for the sales parts, do you guys look at yourself doing any mobile sales?
No.
Okay. So if you are in the future getting towards that point over here, and you're walking around at that point with, you can do a new sales order, look up an order, add a customer. It's pretty straightforward. So you just actually find your account, find your customer name, and then you can put the line items. You can accept payment right here in AdvancePro, whether it's credit card, if they have something on their account. And then it interacts with the back end of the software where all of the fun stuff happens, and you'll be able to process the order in regards to getting it prepared, pick, packing, and shipping, doing it right there for them if it's a retail order. But you can do the orders for sales right here on the mobile front end.
All right.
Okay. And I believe Israel just joined. Israel, are you there?
I certainly am. How are
Perfect.
you, Eric?
Good. Are you?
I'm great. So you thinking of coming back to AdvancePro?
Yeah. And yeah. We never really fully got up and running before, so I wanted to take a look at what it would take and what's new.
Well, there's, it's kind of a good thing for you because I think you've already paid for it, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So kind of a no-brainer there.
Yeah.
Um, So AdvancePro, there's been a lot of changes. I see that from the screen. I see that Peter has been showing you our front end application. It's not, you could use it for absolutely everything, right? So it's not just remote sales or being remote. It's about convenience. And so AdvancePro's got a lot of convenience tools that are associated to it. This being one of them. And then certainly our other integrations that we now integrate with Shopify, and we integrate with different EDI and payment gateways. So lots of exciting stuff happening. Tell me about your business, Eric. What's going on with you guys?
So since we were last getting it, I think the last time we were looking at AdvancePro, the main thing was just better visibility on inventory and landed cost, and sort of getting a better handle on all of that than QuickBooks is capable of. But now our business has changed a little bit, and some of the things that you mentioned would also be very useful for us, like the Shopify integration, obviously, as we've moved over to that platform, and then we started using SPS Commerce a little bit. So I think just more integration overall, so that we're keeping better track of inventory, better idea of our turns and our costs. And
now, I just want to make sure I know what you guys do. What is it that you do exactly?
We're essentially a wholesaler, but we do direct sales as well.
Okay, but you're a wholesaler of.
So we design our own bicycle accessories.
Okay, I'm in the right site. You've got a thing called ridepdw.com. Is that your website?
Yep.
Okay. And you know that we deal with Showers Pass, right? You know who they are?
Yeah, I know Kyle.
Oh, okay. So, Kyle can tell you. He's pretty.
So it's a similar. I would say it's a similar business to those guys. They do. I think they probably do a greater percentage of direct to consumer.
Right.
They don't really have the distributor element. I think they do direct to consumer and then to retailers.
They're all clothing.
Sorry?
They're all clothing.
Yeah. It's all clothing as well.
And you don't sell bikes, but you sell it. I got lights, cargo, and inflation. Is that and
everything that's not the actual bike.
Okay, I'm a big biker.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, I do road biking, and I do off-road as well. Mainly road. We're just getting into the season now. Like that bell. That's a nice bell you got there. Okay. So so I mean, right now, like just into the history, you started with AdvancePro. You guys were a startup back then, right?
Yeah, we were still pretty new.
Okay. And today, and then you why didn't you get AdvancePro up and going? What happened? I forget.
Well, there was a few factors. I think it became too large of a project for us at that time.
Okay.
A whole bunch of wrenches kind of got thrown into the mix. Our building got sold, so we needed to move our entire operation, which as you probably know is no mean feat. So we're already working 12, 13 hours a day, just physically moving our offices and warehouse and all of that. Everything kind of got derailed. But
how's it going today? Fast forward, how you guys doing today?
It's been
okay.
The bicycle industry definitely went through a bit of a dip in 2016, and it's kind of been climbing back ever since. So
so tell me about your business. I see you've got stuff on your website on PDW.com there, and you're selling directly to the public on this website. No, is that what you're doing?
Yes, and that's through it's built on the Shopify platform.
Okay, so are you on Shopify Pro or are you on Shopify regular?
Pro.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Okay, so you've got the Shopify thing happening. And what about, tell me about your other channels. You're doing wholesale distribution?
Yeah, so we do a pretty good chunk of our business through wholesale distribution, and that's all pretty simple. Most of those guys are relatively unsophisticated, so those orders are just coming in as PDFs or Excel files.
Okay, great.
And then
EDI, little bit of EDI coming in.
So the only EDI customer we currently have is REI, and we use SPS Commerce for that. And then we do some business with Amazon through their Vendor Central platform. So those POs come in through their platform.
Okay, and what about like pop-ups? You doing any of those?
Nope.
Okay, all right.
You mean as far as going out there and selling directly to the public at events and things like that?
Yeah. Are you doing those things? Are you doing events?
No, we don't do a whole lot of that.
How many people in your company these days?
We're just 4 in the office here.
Oh, okay, great. Do you have your own warehouse or do you have third party?
Yeah, it's on site here.
So everything is done on site?
Yep.
Okay, great. So you're probably running your business, using QuickBooks and Excel spreadsheets today?
Yep.
Okay. That's a lot of redundancy there. So that's obviously why we're talking. You probably have,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I mean the main thing too is that to be successful on Shopify and Amazon and all your different models is you got to keep your inventory updated in real time. Worst thing that happens is to sell something that you don't have in stock, and then you gotta just the time that goes into something that you're only making $4 or $5 on or $10 on, it just eats up all that profit real quick.
Mm-hmm.
We have different things that can happen in the implementation process. The implementation process can be a little painful sometimes for people because they're working on operating their businesses, especially small businesses, right? And
right.
And it's kind of one of those painful things that you keep on putting at the bottom of your list. I've got a meeting in about an hour with my insurance company who wants to go over all our insurance, and I've just been kind of avoiding them because it's like I really don't want to deal with that, right? And but now I got to do it, so I got to sit down and do it. But I get it, but the problem is the challenge is that you're managing your business sort of as you need to manage it in order of priority, and so the stuff that like this that you got to invest time in order to see the fruits of your labor like a month later or whatever, it's kind of tough. I get it.
Right.
Yeah, but it's just going to get worse, and all that time that you're spending kind of like doing all those Excel spreadsheets or figuring out mistakes or trying to you put all this effort into getting excellent reviews and placement on all these shopping carts and on the social media out there, that one bad shipment or one situation where you can't figure out your supply management can ruin all that. So it's just it's a really exposing world in that regard. You're dealing with a lot of what I call multiples, and I think that it's important to get all that in order. That's my I love what I see on your website. I think I can see what you're doing. So how do we get you to? I know that Peter was going to show you a whole demo, and so we can get to that if you want. But basically, I mean, effectively, we do everything you need to do, right? I mean, that's why you bought AdvancePro to begin with. So I don't, really what we should talk about is implementing you, and so what's the process? It's not going to cost you anything for the software because you've already paid for it, and so even though it's been canceled, we still respect the fact that you've paid for it and you got your license. We can turn you on tomorrow, and you're going to be in a cloud environment. Certain things you know, there's cost to certain things that will cost you. Like, I don't know, when you bought into AdvancePro, I don't think at the time we had our Shopify integration. I wasn't sure of that.
No, I don't think and we weren't even on the Shopify platform at that time. I think we were operating off of Drupal or something.
So we'd have to charge you for the integration. It's not a lot, it's $1,500. And we're very familiar, very experienced working with Shopify. We can also, I don't know where you're getting your payment processing done, but we've now got some great relationships within the payment processing community, very convenient for you. Paragon is a partner of ours. Authorized.net is a partner of ours, so we can set all that up for you. Or I don't know who you're dealing with. Who are you dealing with today with your payment processing?
Pretty much everything is just going through the Shopify payment platform.
Right. Okay. So I mean, you can continue that way too, but you may want to use sort of the tools in AdvancePro and run it through Paragon. I don't know if it's a big deal. The thing right now is kind of where people get sort of overwhelmed is, okay, I want to move forward. How do I get from point A to point B? How do I get to the finish line? So we try to make that really, really simple. And so how many SKUs do you have today?
Let me take a look here. You know, if you include small parts.
You're not building anything, are you? Are you kidding? Or are you doing any
No, but here's the problem. So, you know, I'm looking here. I'd say in the neighborhood of 170.
Okay.
So not a ton. The problem, and this is probably just going to end up being a huge manual data entry thing, but the way we currently trick QuickBooks into giving us a true landed cost for each product is that we make three separate part numbers for each product. One of them is the part number and then freight, part number duty, part number item. And so then we receive all those three items, and then we assemble them together as sort of a finished, you know, quote unquote finished product. So we'll probably have to sort of start from scratch so that we don't have all of these assembly items, because AdvancePro is going to be doing that for us. Right.
You're not going to have to worry about any of all that's going to be calculated into your average landing costs, and you just need what your costs are. I mean, you're not going to be able to carry that information with you, but it doesn't sound like it's a lot. I mean, you can figure out what your landed cost is easily enough. But we're just going to go with the one SKU. So when you kind of do the spreadsheet, you'll just is there a tab, or is it a limit? Is it there must be a logic to it?
If you mean if we exported all of these items into a spreadsheet?
It's only 170 SKUs. So, I mean, we got to make what, 340 deletions, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we'd just delete that. That's easy enough. I mean, you just got to take that out. So real simple.
Well, the big thing would be keeping track of figuring out a way so we don't lose the history. So I don't know if there's a way to sort of import that, sort of erase everything, but then re-import the data on. It's important to us to know, what did we sell of this SKU in 2014? How many did we sell in 2015?
That's okay. You're not. Are you using QBO or QBD? What are you using? Desktop QB or QBO?
Oh, what?
QuickBooks. Are you using the desktop QuickBooks version or
Yeah, we're using desktop.
Okay. So first of all, your history remains intact on QuickBooks. Nothing that we're doing is going to affect your history on QuickBooks. It's still there, so if you have to look something up, you can look it up on QuickBooks.
Okay.
Because all we're doing is now your inventory is being managed completely and exclusively in AdvancePro, and then it's downloading into QuickBooks. So what's going to happen is that you could look up your history and you can do all that stuff in QuickBooks, but now it's just you're developing a new type of history. You're excluding those 2 SKUs from your history, those freight and handling SKUs, stuff like that.
Right.
On formal orders, you can take a look at any information you need.
All right.
Okay. So here's what I would recommend to you, Eric. So we can do this really quickly for you. You want to get this done right away, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty good time.
Okay, so let's work on it right now. Now's a good time for us too, because we've got availability and capacity to be able to get you all set up. I would tell you, I would strongly recommend, you don't have to do it, but it sounds like you're going to need to do it. I would strongly recommend to buy into our implementation package. It's a $2,500 implementation package. It gives you the support that you're going to need to bring in all that data and to give you the training. Then you do some testing, and then you go live. We're going to take a little bit of time setting up the Shopify account. That's some testing has to be done there, back and forth. And you have to decide if you want to go into the EDI package. EDI would require you to change from SPS Commerce over to True Commerce. And there's a cost on True Commerce side. There's a cost on our side. So that could be another, I don't know what the cost is in total, but another $2,000 at least in licensing.
So that we probably wouldn't want to do because it's pretty minimal what we do with EDI right now. And
we can take that stuff that's coming from SPS Commerce, and what we can do is we can create a flat file and we can integrate it over a flat file right into the system.
Okay.
Okay. So there's really nothing here that I see that scares me or that should be any problem. You can get up and going right away.
Right on.
What about sales reps? Are you dealing with sales reps?
Nope. It's pretty simple.
B2B, well, how does B2B working for you? How are these guys ordering for you, from you? Like, you're dealing with a lot of mom and pop shops, I would imagine.
Yeah, not a lot really. So because mainly we go through these large distributors. So for the most part they're taking care of the mom and pop shops. Now
Okay.
we do a little bit, pretty much just in Portland with smaller bike shops, and we've got a B2B site also on Shopify that they just order from. So it works pretty similar. It works almost exactly the same way as the consumer site works.
Great. Then you're good to go. You're good to go. So here's what I would do. I don't know if you want to see more of the demo that Peter was going to show you, but was there anything specific that you needed to see from that demo?
No, I don't think so.
Here's what I would do, Peter. My recommendation is this. We use PandaDocs, Eric. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not.
It's an electronic documenting system. It just makes everything so much easier. We're paperless here, and so it allows us to issue proposals and quotes, and everything is done electronically, right? So what I would like to suggest or recommend is, Peter, you write up a PandaDocs. I just want to bring up your account here with us. I just want to take a look at it. Just give me 1 second here, Eric. I want to see what you paid and what you paid.
Probably got some outdated info on contact info and address and all of that too that we'd want to.
Okay, so I've got so just it's no longer 15 Northeast. What is your billing address today?
3625 Southeast 21st Avenue.
Got it.
Okay, that's great. And that's Portland and Oregon. And what's the zip code?
97202.
Okay, great. I just updated that in ChargeOver. And is Hazel still the main contact over there, Eric?
No, that'll be me.
Okay. And is she with your company still?
No.
All right. And just what is your, I should know this, and I'm sure it's somewhere in there, but your email address, Eric, what is it?
So Eric with a K at ridepdw.com, the same as our website.
ridepwd.com. I got that. Okay, listen, I can fill out the rest later in terms of phone numbers and all that thing. But she is, okay, so let me just, I don't even know how you do this, but it doesn't matter, but we'll get rid of that. She is gone. Okay, so she's out of the system. That's that.
Okay.
Okay, great. Okay. So somehow we got to figure out, I don't know, I don't often do this stuff, but I don't think I did it right, Peter, so you may want to do it, but that's regardless. So I just want to see what, and Eric, what do you do at the company? You're one of the owners?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm just going to take a look at what you guys paid for. So we did, you signed up in, wow, 2015. Okay, that was the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How many users are you?
So we would need, I guess ideally 4 users.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just tell you kind of what, so you paid for a local installation of AdvancePro under version 9, right? And so we were local. So that changes completely because now you're on the cloud.
Okay.
With us. I mean, you could go local, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't maintain your local environment. It's more expensive in the long run. I don't think it's going to work for you. It is a little bit more expensive though on the cloud, but that includes a lot more things that you weren't getting before. You do not have an AP. Well, we didn't have AP Mobile back then. You do not have Shopify. Do you see yourself using the front end, the AP Mobile do you see yourself using that?
That's sort of the
app.
The mobile front end where you're going out and entering sales in the field, basically.
It could be, but it could be anything. You could be doing stuff in your warehouse with it. It's complete.
Yeah, I honestly don't see us using that too much.
Okay.
I think we could do without.
Okay.
Yeah, it's mostly us sitting in front of the desktop kind of operation when it comes to all this stuff.
Okay. So what I'm going to do anyways is on the AP Mobile side, Eric, we're just going to throw that in. Okay, we're going to include that, so it's not going to cost you anything, and you'll be able to use it. I believe, is that true, Peter? Does he need separate licenses for that, or does he need one license and that gives him the app and AdvancePro access?
Yeah, he can just have the one license for AP Mobile, the front end. All he needs is the username and the credential to log into.
Okay, great. So we'll train you on that, Eric. If you use it, you use it. If you don't use it, you don't lose it. How do you like that? Okay.
Okay.
And then you're not going to get EDI. So I would definitely suggest that you do the implementation package I'm recommending. I don't think you need any more than 15 hours of professional services. And I believe what is that, Peter? $2,500?
Yes.
Okay. So so that's really it. That's what you need to. You save money on the software. The software is priced differently anyways now, but it would have cost you for 4 users. It would have cost you nearly $8,000. So that gets waived completely. And so what you got? So the $1,500 for the Shopify integration is and the implementation would come to about $4,000, right? That'd be your cash commitment. And then you're paying $500 a year to maintain the Shopify integration. We do that because we got to stay on top of that integration. That's how we support it. And then you pay, you've got a monthly fee associated per user. And are you going to be paying for your monthlies monthly or on annual basis?
I guess it depends on the price difference.
Right. So the monthly fee is, correct me if I'm wrong, Peter, but I don't do this too often, Eric. It's $110, and then the yearly fee, if they pay yearly, it's, what is that?
So it's $1,020 for the year, but that's $85 a month.
Sorry, if they pay yearly, it's $85 per month, right?
Correct.
It works
Correct.
out, and it's paid yearly,
Correct.
right? Okay, if they pay monthly, then it's $110 per month.
That's right.
Okay, great. You got that, Eric?
Yeah.
He'll give you the choice. You can decide what you want to do. Obviously, paying monthly is going to be a better deal for you in the long run. But sometimes, and if you add users or take away users, you can delete users and you can add users at any time.
Okay.
And when you do that, it just gets prorated into your next month.
So that's a per user per month fee.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. And that includes all of your hosting, all of your backup, all technical support, and you go into a different team with our technical support because of the cloud, and they're they're better than the local team because the local team is sort of not as current because very few of our users are local anymore. Very few of our companies are going local. Mostly everyone that comes on board is cloud.
Okay.
And that's it. There's really there's no other costs to moving forward. If you wanted someone on site, you could have someone on site at cost. It wouldn't cost you to have someone on site necessarily go live, but I don't think you need someone on site. I think you can handle all this, but that's up to you. If you want someone on site, we could send someone down on site to take you live. Would that be something you wanted?
Well, it just kind of depends on how implementation goes, I guess.
Yeah, I would go forward with the implementation. The process is that Peter does up this PandaDocs deal. He sends it to you. You sign it. Accounting collects money from you. Once the first bill has been paid, then there's there's a business analyst meeting that gets set up that Peter will set up with you, and Daryl or myself or somebody else will be part of that meeting just to go through your workflow in greater detail to understand how your existing data, where it is, and to kind of get an idea of how we're going to implement it. Then what happens is that you're going to get assigned an account manager. We also use Asana as an interactive project management tool that you'll be invited to. So you'll load things if we need logos or whatever we need from you from a media or from spreadsheets. All that gets loaded through there. Then you're assigned somebody who will basically set up all your data and create your sandbox environment. And then you'll go through a series of training sessions and some testing, and then you'll just pick a day and go live. You could be live. I mean, there really isn't a lot of complication here except for the integration with Shopify, which has to go through rigorous testing. So I would say that you could probably be live within 4 weeks if you're committed to this. Is probably on the outside is if you move really fast on this, 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
How does that sound to you?
Yeah, it sounds like a reasonable time frame.
Okay, and all the pricing that I've just told you about, I mean, I think I'm okay with it. I don't, I'm just looking on our web, but is that all right for you?
Yeah, I can't make a decision right this second, but in principle, yeah.
Okay, great. So what? So I don't know if you need to see any more of this demo. Did you need to see any more of it? Because I think you've seen a lot of this already.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing sort of I guess not so much the mobile stuff, but the more granular
Sure.
items and inventory management.
Peter, why don't you go ahead? Why don't you bring up the front end of the system,
Sure.
the back end of the system, the whole administrative platform, and what type of things do you want to see, Eric? You want to see how you process a customer order, or how you maintain inventory? What type of?
Yeah, take me through the workflow. Let's say you import all your open Shopify orders for the day.
Sure. So your orders are going to sync in automatically, right? And you have a choice of whether you want to have them go straight to sort of what we call open order phase, or if you want to go straight to warehouse, right? And so it depends on if you want to see the orders before you process them into warehouse or not, right? But ultimately, no matter how the orders come in, so you've got B2B happening, you've got people phoning in and you're inputting those orders into the system, you've got flat files that are importing into the system. Regardless of how that happens, they're going to end up as an open order. So go into an order, Peter, and you can navigate either on the left-hand side or across the top. It's up to you. Everything is very intuitive in here. Bring up any order. So your orders would look like this. And this is a shipped order. We could bring you up an open order. Why don't we bring them up an open order, Peter, just for shits and giggles here?
Don't know if I have any open orders. See.
Okay. Create an order.
Might be one. So we have one that has to be picked, but that's an example we could use.
Sure. So this order is okay. This is what an order would look like in the system. Can you go to order details for a second? Just on up there, yeah. So along the bottom here that you see on your left-hand side, Eric, are all the different sort of icons have to do with stuff that you can do on the fly. So you can take a look at who worked on this order, which person, you've got different people that are logged in that have worked on this order, whether it's warehouse or the order taking or things like that. You can also email anything at any point in the system. You can also manage your freight from the order and sort of depending on what you want to do there. So there's all sorts of different things you can do. You can see in this case, we're dealing with variances. So if you expanded any of those orders, you would see the variance for that particular order in terms of sizing. And you can also see what the quantity is, what we have in stock. You can do a bird's eye view, check out a history of that. So there's a lot of things that you can do from within this order stage. Click on one of those eyes, if you don't mind, Peter, just to give them a good idea. So, I mean, here you can get all sorts of reports. What did they order before? What, there's any back orders, I don't know. Okay, you get out of that. So, but this screen is highly comprehensive. There's a lot of stuff going on in here and things, it's just all automated, but if you want to drill down into anything, you can do so. When this order is processed, it goes into the warehouse. And by the way, the customer doesn't see what you see, right? This isn't for invoicing purposes. Peter, print the invoice just to show them what the customer can see. And this invoice is emailed to them directly, or you could print it and mail it to them, whatever you want to do. Yeah, so there, that's what your order would. In this particular order, that's what it would look like as an invoice to your business-to-business customer. For your Shopify orders, they would get the Shopify collateral, right? So it would all go through Shopify. You wouldn't be sending them anything through AdvancePro. The nice thing also is that just the email icon there, if you don't mind, Peter, just you can email this out to anybody. that you want, and so that's you can have an ongoing email thing. Okay, cancel that. Just show Eric the audit trail if you don't mind. The audit trail on the bottom there, Peter.
Yeah.
That one? No.
Oh, so I just go over it? Yeah.
That's your notes. That's your notes. That's not your audit trail.
Uh,
No, next. No, next. Over here. Okay. Peter?
yeah.
Audit trail. It's third from, it's right next to the email. There you go. That's your audit trail, Eric. So if anything ever went wrong with this order, whatever you wanted to know, that you're, okay, I call it an audit trail. It's called a paper trail. I think I threw Peter off here. But you can see everything that happened in that order at any time. If you ever have to fill in and take a look at something. There's a lot of other little toys here we could show you that have come into play on this, but you know,
do you have the ability to enter different customer part numbers for each SKU? So, you know, obviously every distributor has their own internal part number that they want on packing slips and invoices, that are different, you know, different from each other and also different from our part number. Is that possible?
Well, go to customers for a second, Peter. So let's say we bring up a customer. We have anything customer specific is going to be in here. Okay. I don't think that we have the ability. Go to additional info, please.
Oh, sorry. There we go.
Yeah. I don't think I'm not sure, honestly, if we've got the ability to provide there. Go to order info for a second, Peter. So this will give us sort of information on their orders. We will not be able to, and you can place a new order from this screen too. We're not going to be able, we would not have their specific part numbers. But I have to look into that. Let me just find out.
Okay.
Peter, keep on showing Eric around. I just want to make a quick, I'm just going to Skype Yuri for a second. Go ahead. Just keep showing.
So like Israel mentioned, majority of your orders will go into the view orders side. That's how it's going to funnel through. If you're putting any orders to vendors, obviously it also comes through here. It's mostly the exact same process. Once you have a vendor that you selected, it'll bring you to a screen that you've seen before, which we've showed you on the customer side. So over here, you can pick the products that you want to bring in, you know, any shipping details that have to be entered into here, like you mentioned, any notes, any payment terms you have with your vendors. It's all going to be indicated into here. Whatever it is that you may order, I mean, obviously you can add units of it. But what happens, you'll get a line item. You can obviously alter the quantity and the price. And once you save it and place the order, it's going to email it to them so that way they have verification of it. And when it comes in and you're receiving it into your warehouse, you can receive against the purchase order that you sent out to that vendor. So, you know, pretty straightforward in terms of placing the order. And then, as Israel mentioned before, in the warehouse part, whether you're shipping or receiving, you know, that's where it's going to come into play, where you're either bringing items in or shipping them out. So for me, for receiving, the one that we just did, you'll obviously get your most recent PO. And then it's as simple as obviously putting in the quantity, which you can do on the mobile front end as well as the back end. Both options are available. You know, if you're at the back of the door, you don't want to just kind of run back and forth to a computer, you can scan it in. But you'll receive it, and that's about it. Oh, vendor bill of reference number. I'm going to make one up. And then you now have it successfully placed in stock. That's how it's basically closing out the order. The next step from here is just closing it out in AdvancePro in terms of creating a bill, and that will synchronize to your QuickBooks automatically.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that process is pretty much as such. So it's vendor, bill, and then
I'm back, by the way. I'm just listening. I'm letting Peter do his thing.
And if anything's correct here, like I mentioned, just create the bill.
Just bring me in if you need me, Peter.
And then that once you create the bill, then that'll automatically sync with QuickBooks.
That's correct.
Gotcha.
And then anything you need to access for the QuickBooks, I mean, we have a tab over here that you can obviously open up your file to, set an auto export feature. So from before, a lot of people do it probably once a day. You can set it up every hour, every 3 hours, whatever you wish to based on the interval of how AdvancePro passes information into QuickBooks on a timely manner. That's up to you guys when you set up the file.
Okay.
Any returns, any RMAs, that's also going to happen through here as well. How often do you have products coming in and how do you deal with them? I don't think we've talked about that. Or sorry, coming back.
We don't have a lot, but that's certainly something that's not integrated right now, so that'd be great.
Yeah, so I mean, it's as simple as just issuing an RMA. So if it's a customer return or a vendor return, you have the option to do so. You just simply pick from that customer, and then whenever they purchased in between, based on the POs that you have in AdvancePro, whatever synchronized to QuickBooks for your information, whatever the quantity is, I'm just going to pick the full amount. What's going to happen is you'll get a resolution, so you can obviously pick if it's a credit, if you're replacing the item. That's up to you to determine when a return comes in, whatever the reason may be. You can either email it or save it. So let's say, wrong size. So then you want to obviously bring it back into stock in the warehouse. If it's a wrong size, it's still usable unless they damage the product, whatever the case may be. So you would just go to returns, and then it's as simple as selecting it and bringing the stock back in. So if it's going back to inventory, if it's going to review if it's damaged, whatever the case may be, you would just receive it, and that's that. Products have been received, and that's basically closing out the RMA. So you can go and verify it. It's been received.
Okay. And if it's not going back into stock, how do you resolve that open RMA?
So if it's not going back into stock, you're going to put it to review, and then whatever internal process you bring it through for, if it's a damage, if it's a defective part, whatever it may be, you'll be able to enter a reason beside that product, and then, whatever happens to it after it's some inventory, you can either keep it deducted, so it's not going to fluctuate your numbers whenever you run a report, but that's how you would deal with it.
Do that? Yes.
Okay.
Oh, we do that. Hey, Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Daryl. Explain how it works.
So yeah, we do have customer-specific SKUs. So you still have an internal SKU for the products, but for any particular customer, you can assign that customer a SKU for that product. So they order internally, it's tracked by the internal SKU, and you can have a third SKU for your vendor if you buy it from somebody else.
You want to see that? Are you good there?
I don't need to see it now. Just needed to know if it was if it existed.
Yeah, it's part of our pricing features used under the pricing tools, so that the customer SKU is given a customer price in that same area.
Oh, okay, great.
Oh, it's part of what makes us beautiful. Sorry. That was Daryl, by the way.
So,
Okay.
I mean, aside from that, Israel brought you through the sales process. We brought you through the vendor purchasing, some of the RMAs, where your inventory is being held. You can toggle through it anytime, your stock, your SKU, UPC, your quantity, if you have to verify what's going in, what's going out. Everything's within 3 clicks or less. We've made it powerful so you're not going multi-click on a screen and you're not wasting your time, because that would just be cumbersome. You'll be able to access anything you need to within a click or a couple of it, but it's all your fingertips of the information.
How do you, when you're accounting for costs on goods coming in, how does it assign, a percentage of the freight cost or the duty to a specific SKU?
Israel, you want to take that one, or I can show it?
Well, yeah, go ahead and show them the landed freight module.
Sure. So over here for the vendor freight, you can put cost, customs duties, freight release. You can even put the port of arrival, but this will all be indicated into here for the actual information you need. And once you add it, but I know the note says over here, only an open, processed, and partially received vendor order, can have the records and be added. So you're going to have to make sure that it's open while you're adding this information to account for it.
Let's see.
You can also do this at the bill stage as well. This is all when you're placing the order.
Gotcha. So you can enter. You can once you know the vessel and everything, you can enter that in.
That's correct.
So is there? I guess I don't see where. You get your bill from the forwarder, and you have it's all sort of wrapped up together. You just have this one. You have one total duty cost, and then you have a freight cost. Does that sort of get meted out to each SKU based on its volume or weight, or how? Or do you just sort of do that, break it all down?
Sorry, Peter? What's going on? What's Eric asking?
So I think Eric's asking if he can attribute a line item cost for the freight if it's based on weight or another unit of measure, if I'm understanding that correctly.
Yeah. Go into vendor freight for a second. Okay, so in here you can create this for the vendor bill, right? So you can get all of you can allocate all of your third-party billings, cost of bringing in the goods, and then this is going to go ahead and it's going to not only that, but it's going to go ahead and it's also going to create. This is just the vendor, but we'll show you something else. It'll create those payables as well for you, so you'll be able to check them against your invoicing.
Mm-hmm.
But this will do it on the entire bill. Are you saying you want each item because you're not? You can also decide how you want to cost this out. We'll show you that as well.
Yeah. I guess that's what I'm saying is so here for this vendor freight information, I would probably this would be the freight forwarder.
Yeah.
And I'd go through their invoice and I'd say, okay, it was this much freight, this much for the broker, this much for customs, this much to truck it down, all that stuff.
Yeah, you would do that. You would do that on your pro forma though. Like you would get all those quotes ahead of time. You'd put this in. You'd put this in ahead. You can put this in afterwards too, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we usually don't see how everything's. At least on the freight forwarder side, we don't see the transportation costs until it shows up, basically.
It's all pretty flexible. Like when you receive it, like show him. Receive it into the warehouse, please.
I'll go to orders to receive.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to receive this order here.
Yeah, so okay, so sure, why not receive it? Go ahead, have fun. All right. Okay, now go ahead, go back into it and show them the freight module in there. All right, now bring that up. Here you go. So all of this stuff gets inputted, and this can come from when you ordered up the freight, you can put this in, it'll travel right through to here, or when you've received the goods, you can put all this in. And this is really the beauty of where all that stuff that you've created all these workarounds in QuickBooks, all this stuff gets tracked here. So you can go ahead and you can figure out your cost of goods. You know, there's all sorts of different things you can figure out there.
Okay, so.
And your method of calculation for cost, weight, and volume, I think this is what you were mentioning by line item. It doesn't show the line item in here, but based on the order for weight, you can obviously check that off and it'll attribute for the purchase order.
Okay. So if there were, obviously this is easy because it's just you would take your total cost here and divide it by however many of these widgets you ordered. But if I was receiving, on one container 100 different SKUs from 5 different vendors, but it's all one, sort of freight expense, I can enter all that info and it'll just sort of split it up according to the volume of the product if I want. So let's say, a carton of 100 lights really only costs me, let's say $10 because it's only taking up a tiny part of the container, whereas a carton of 10 full coverage fenders is taking up 10 times the space, but there's only 10 of them. So I'll be attributing,
Yeah.
10 or whatever it is, 100-fold in freight cost to those fenders as I do to the lights, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You'll be able to proportion as you want.
Okay.
Right.
There's, I got to tell you, Eric, and since you've last looked at this, you're talking about nearly 4 years ago. There's got to be hundreds of enhancements and features that are in here that are just unbelievable in terms of what we've done to make this work for a lot of our customers who've demanded a lot of these features. Just you talk to Kyle, he drives us every day with stuff, right? Intelligence is a big part of what we do. Business intelligence. We have a new platform outside of AdvancePro that you may want to subscribe to. I don't know what it costs. I think it's like $50 a month, but you could put all of your intelligent data in there. Like you could do stuff like in real time, how does the visits to my web, how does my Google traffic affect my sales? Or how does, there's all sorts of variables or variations of outside of not just within AdvancePro, but using AdvancePro numbers and feeding it in from other parties, from other data sources. And we've got these fantastic intelligence tools now that you could use. We also have a new tool coming out called the replenishment intelligence tool that tells you how much to order. You create factors and you look at history and it tells you, okay, this is what your order should be. So we've got that tool coming out. That's going to be out in probably by fourth quarter. Really nice tool. It's just been approved for development. And we've got everywhere in the software you can do an Excel spreadsheet. You can go to reports tab. You can do reports from there. Gosh, anything you can think of, the power of AdvancePro is behind, right?